Video 2. So, with the reverse racism that I was speaking of, at 42, seeing it from the years that I've lived it, and now seeing my niece and her little best friend coming home talking about this, I'm like, what? You guys can't read, but you understand racism? You're 4 years old. The last damn thing a 4 year old should ever be thinking about is some damn racism. You know, that shit's just messed up. And the fact that it hasn't ended in all this time in 2016 and they're still doing it, come on, black people. Really? It, if I never get famous for anything other than this damn video right here, this is what I gotta tell all of us people of color. We gotta get our shit together. Do you know why other races are more tight with each other than us? You know, for the most part, white people look out for other white people, unless they're really racist and they don't like the white people who look out for other white people or black people or other races. Asian people generally look out for other Asian people, even if they're like from Japan, you know. But you ask somebody black, man, and it's like every man for himself. You got 8 million fish in a barrel, and somebody's got a sniper scope set right on us because no person of color, and I'm specifically speaking of black people, no black person really wants another black person to succeed and succeed well. And that commodity, of us that do succeed, fight to keep every bit we have. I mean, we fight, we scrap, we claw, we bite, scratch, whatever we need to do to stay where we at. And like I said, if I was ever a famous or working actor, I'm not gonna try to knock someone else off the pedestal. But goddamn it, there's plenty of room up here, to sit beside me. And hell, if your check goes up and mine stays at one mediocre spot, I'm okay with that because I'm still getting paid. And as long as I'm working, I don't give a damn who's making more money than me. I don't give a fuck if you're a pretty black woman or a handsome black man and you're making twice as much as me. Fuck it. I'm working. I might not ever get as high as you. I might never get as much acting work as you. I don't give a damn as long as I'm fucking working. Alright? And I'm a simple person. I'm not real hard to please. I'm not one of those dismissive types where you can just sit there and, say what you want and think I'm not gonna say anything back. Ah, damn it, broke my rubber band. But in that same nutshell, I don't have to sit there and be ostracized because of my culture. And neither should these 4 year old girls going to school. And like I said, kids aren't born racist. We teach them that shit. So we need to stop. And mostly, it starts at home. With black on black racism, it has to start at home. Because, maybe you went through some shit. But not every black person that you meet, you should have your child treat that black person like that asshole that made you the way you are today. And for some reason, we just don't have it together. We don't have it together. We refuse to do anything to correct it. And all we want to do is stop each other from thriving. Which is why we're always going to be the third ones in the chain. Which is why everyone is naturally afraid of black people. Because, hey, there are some big black guys out there. And they might be gentle Ben. But in the eyes of other people, the simple fact that they're black is a scratch right there. And they're tall, so they're like, yeah, this guy sitting, he's fixing to fuck somebody up. That's not necessarily true. I've known many of gentle black guys that probably can fight their way out of a wet paper bag. But people are naturally afraid of people. There it is. It's kind of like people who naturally mistake all Asians to be Chinese. All right, why is that? Because of the first big Asian population boom, not counting the Native Americans, were the Chinese. The Chinese and Native Americans and the blacks helped build the fucking railroads. Now, granted, the whites also helped, but they were the foremen and most of the time cracking whips at people. And the same thing with the gold rush. When the gold rush came, yeah, a lot of Asians lost their lives in mines, and no one took count of that. A lot of Native Americans lost their lives, which I counted them as Asians, and a lot of blacks in the gold mines lost their lives, or they were shanghaied, and someone would take the gold from them because a lot of black people just didn't have guns. It wasn't something, if you weren't in the fucking army and you weren't retired from the army back during the Civil War and everything. Most black people, if they were lucky to own a gun, they had a gun, but probably had pitchforks and rakes and shit. Same thing with Native Americans. They had a bow and arrow. Chinese came over. They may have had what ancient weapon they came over with, which was pretty much looking like Christmas ornament to the Guaylo and the normal American people who were basically black. I forgot how to say black in Chinese, but anyway, somebody taught me, and my other friend taught me how to say it in Korean, but I forgot. So being I forgot, it's not doing me any good right now. But for them to for Guaylo or Gaijin, white guys, to see these things come out the crates, they're like, oh, what the fuck is that? Until someone got diced the fuck up, nobody knew what the fuck kung fu was. So it wasn't like it was a big fucking deal. But then there were laws and stuff that pretty much ostracized that. And then the fear of being deported back to ancient China or wherever the hell when they came over during the gold rush probably kept them from doing a lot of shit, which cost a lot of Asian men and women their lives. And a lot of women were raped on the black side, the white side, and the Native American side by these ass clowns doing gold rush. Now, I went off track on that for the simple fact that, all right, most of the time, Chinese get along with Chinese, they get along with Vietnamese, they get along with Koreans, and they haven't been too fond of Japanese. But here in America, it's a little bit different because you don't have to follow that traditional rule of, well, you're Japanese, I'm Chinese, your people occupy my people, I hate you. Well, hell, that could be same with Tibet and China, because I'm Tibetan, you're Chinese, you're trying to kill everybody but the Dalai Lama, so we hate you. But here in America, it's all good. And most Asian people tend to get along, even if they're Japanese and Korean and everybody else. But black people, nope. Nope. And the only white people that don't really like black people are the KKK and the white supremacists. But everybody else attempts to get along with us, except for other black people. Now, I will say I've had some incidences with actual African Americans, because I'm a strong believer that black people should never call themselves African Americans. That shit shouldn't even be on the fucking books. It should be said Black Americans. It should not even say African Americans, because we didn't immigrate over here from Africa. We were fucking born here. So it should just say Black Americans. Whoopi Goldberg once said something about that, and I'm 100% with her. I'm not a fucking African American. My ass is black. Period. Don't put me down as African American. Okay. So when I go fill out applications, I'm sure they look at me like, well, why are you putting black? And I said, well, you need me to bring my birth certificate. Again, reverse racism. I've had that happen before. I've told you guys the story. I've had racism probably all my life. The worst part was getting kicked out of Toys R Us when I was 11. And that was in Newport News, Virginia. It was either Newport News or it was Hampton. I don't remember. I know I was over the James River Bridge in the Newport News, Hampton Roads area. I could take you to the fucking spot if you need me to. Whatever one, when you go over the bridge, instead of going to the right and going under the bridge to go back that way, you go straight. So I'm going to say it was Hampton. But it was in the greater Newport News area. Everybody who loves Newport News knows where the fuck Toys R Us is. It's on the same road that used to lead up to the big mall where Children's Palace used to be at. I don't know if Children's Palace even still exists anymore. But anyway, moving back on. The thing with reverse racism is that I never hear too many white people complaining about other white people. Unless the white people live in trailer courts, where white people who don't live in trailer courts tend to treat them like black people who live in the projects. Okay? They're still people. They still have feelings and they still bleed red. So what is the fucking problem? Again, racism is taught at home. Alright? Reverse racism, regular racism, there's no goddamn difference. Racism is racism. And again, we're walking down the street hearing these 4-year-olds talk about how this girl picked on this other girl because of her fucking hair. What? You're 4 years old. 4. 4 years old. Racism should be the last thing on a black child's mind at the age of 4. What is she? Huey from freaking damn the Boondocks? With like baby geniuses and shit? That's something that she shouldn't even be worried about until she hits fucking puberty. You know what I'm saying? No kid under 20 years old should have to deal with racism. Granted, it's gonna happen. But I dealt with it since I was 7. That's kind of when everything started, the 2nd grade and stuff. But other than that, before that, in kindergarten and 1st grade, excuse me, there was no big deal. But once you started getting up to where everybody can actually have a concept of thought in second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, by the time, and yeah, I did say the fourth grade twice because I failed the fourth grade, but by the time you get to the 12th grade, everyone should know who you are, know what you're about, and it shouldn't be a fucking issue. However, I didn't have as much reverse racism by the time I got to high school. But between grade school and high school were probably like the worst two times. Because there's like, well, where does James fit in? He's not exactly black. He's not exactly white. And there were no Native Americans going to any of my schools. Ever. Now, I'm not going to say I'm a saint. I will make a confession right now. When I was in it was grade school, I had not known about Vietnam, even though I was born towards the end of the Vietnam War. I was born in 73. Vietnam War, I believe, ended in 75, 75, 76, somewhere in there. So I didn't know about Vietnam. I knew about China. I knew about Japan because I studied martial arts. So I knew about karate. I knew about kung fu. I didn't know about Vietnam. So me and a Vietnamese kid got to arguing. And I was a racist. I own it. And I'm sorry. I'm not a saint. I've told you this a million times. We got to arguing, and I don't know why, and I don't know what the hell he said to me. I don't remember which one of us started it. I'll tell you that much. But I know by the end of it, this is when I learned about Vietnam. Because he said something to me, and I said, yo, yeah, I think it was more on the lines of, hey, Fu Manchu, go back to China, eat some fucking rice cakes. And he goes, fuck you. I'm from Vietnam. We don't eat no goddamn rice cakes in Vietnam. I was like, where the fuck is Vietnam? Yo, I never heard of it until that day. I did apologize the next day. When I went home, the first thing I did was grab a fucking encyclopedia. So, I did apologize. Now, granted, the encyclopedia did not mention anything about fucking rice cakes. And it pointed me out to where Vietnam was. And by now, it's like, I think 82, 83, something. Whatever grade I was in, I was old enough to read. And I was like, damn, that was kind of like being called a nigger. So, I apologize. I don't think he went all the way through school with us. I think they transferred or something. They were always moving. He told me they were always moving, but I do miss that little guy. And I did apologize. I never made another racist statement like that to anyone else Asian because at the time they all looked alike, and I had never had Chinese food until I got to middle school. And when I had Chinese food, it was at the Chan house, and they fed us cats. Anyway, moving on. I want to know what that girl's parents has taught this little girl to go to school and pick on my niece's friend about her hair being all natural. Stopping this video and starting the last of 3. Alright?